Well, let's see what happens here. It's alive! It's alive! Hey everybody, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage, and we're back. We're working on the 1969 Mustang sports roof, and in this episode we're going to get everything put together on the engine. I stabbed it in last November and just let it sit there, so we got to put all the pulleys on, new power steering pump, we've got a new alternator brackets, valve covers, carburetor, fuel system, points, distributor, everything. Every little thing has to go on this, and hopefully by the end of this episode we'll try to fire her up.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say.
Hey, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage, and we're getting to work on the 69 Mustang. So this is going to be my first video back working on it since about a year ago. And basically what I'm doing, I'm starting to put the engine together. So I've already done a little bit of work. I've put these valve covers on, I've put my pulleys on, I've got my bracket for my alternator, and I've got my power steering pump almost completely on. I've got to put the hose on the lower side of that, but I've already got my adapter and everything there. I'm about to put a carb on. This is just a one I've got laying around. It's really probably not going to be the one I use for it, but I want to get this engine started here soon. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on and do some other work. So we might even start working on the sheet metal later today. I need to start pulling these quarters back off, or at least the driver's side off, to make sure it get it properly fit. It's I think it was about a ½ inch to maybe a quarter of an inch off, top to bottom in the window section. So I'll be doing some work there, but I've just been trying to get everything with the engine going, so about to start recording. Alright, we got a lot of stuff done here. I'm still waiting on my alternator. I still need to wire up my starter, but we got our heater hoses routed. We've got the bottom line on the power steering pump. Went ahead and ran my fuel hose to the carburetor. We got the 1405, I believe, Elderbrock hooked up. It's just basically a 500 or 600 CFM carb I had laying around. It's a mechanical choke. So got a couple things done, then realized I got some stuff going on today that I'm going to have to do, so I'm not digging in too deep, but you know, starting to get everything put together. So here in a couple days at least, I hope to at least get to fire her up. I'll have to put the radiator on, obviously, but slowly but surely. Another day, a couple more things done. Got all our brackets situated, all our belts on, got basically a ½ inch of clearance from the battery tray to the alternator, but we got the alternator, one wire 150 amp alternator wired up. Got my oil sender extension and sending unit installed and wired in. Made sure that we got everything tightened up on these brackets, and got the engine to top dead center, and then put the distributor in the way it's supposed to be, and everything like that. So we're slowly but surely getting everything in place and done. So I need to get a couple more things and start getting all the spark plug wires on her and get the radiator and everything situated, and we'll be good to fire. Hey everybody, it's Jeff with ID10T Garage. We're about to get to work more on the Mustang. I started to do the manifolds the other day and found out my bolts are just too cruddy, and they were for manifolds, and these are small tube headers, so or shorty headers, I'm sorry. So couldn't really do that, didn't get anything recorded with it. So today I'm going to work on getting the radiator in, working on getting that. I just cut the lines on the bottom because the AOD lines go to a side mount transcooler. And this is a stock 69 style transcooler that has them on the bottom, so I cut those down a little bit, and I'm working about to start working on the radiator itself, getting all the fittings put in it and then put it in the car. So that's what we're about to do. Giddy up. Alright, a little more work done. Got our top radiator hose on. Got both our hoses on for our transcooler. Kind of hard to see. Got my 16-inch radiator fan sitting here. Need to reroute some wires on that, of course. I also ran my inlet hose for the fuel pump, which is just coming out here in the fender well right now. So that'll be for my little gas can just to start it up. Because I'm not hooding fuel lines on this since I have a lot of welding to do in the back, so I'm not going to hook up the new lines or the fuel tank that's going to go into this car before then. So I'm still working on the headers. I'm waiting on my header bolts. My oil. I do need a lower radiator hose. This is kind of a weird fitment, so you can see there's my outlet and my inlet are pretty in line. So it's going to be a short hose, so I ordered a flex hose so I could really kind of tweak my own, because your stock radiator hose for a 69 Mustang isn't going to work on that lower section. So, but we're slowly but surely getting there. So I decided I wanted to play with the wiring today. It's been all off camera. You know, I basically came in here and I took my voltage regulator off. Got this new battery in last night, so we've got a brand new fresh battery in here. I'm still waiting on a lot of parts too, but I would turn the key and I was getting voltage to my ignition side of the starter solenoid, but I wasn't getting it to turn over. And it took me a while, and I had to reach out to, you know, the VMF forum and find out. Basically, I had wired up everything that I needed on the neutral safety switch, but I thought it was in park. It was not in park, so that was the issue. So I had to get under the car and flip it into park, and boom, everything fired up. Well, sorry, didn't fire up. Everything turned over. So I've got fresh oil in there. I did an oil change on it today, so I've got some good 10W30 hot rod motor oil and a new oil filter on there. I went ahead and pulled my shifter out, and I had to pull apart the linkage on it. On this linkage right here, I need to attach my AOD linkage. So I'm running an 89 AOD, so I need to use my nice locker linkage. So this will go on here and so on, but there was a bolt that was stuck in here with this bushing, and I couldn't get it out. So I pulled the whole linkage out, and now I'll have to put that all back in. And I actually ordered a new bushing because it's cut on the other side. But, you know, just these little things I'm trying to get done. I still got to figure out what TV bracket and throttle cable bracket I need. I'll be, you know, still need a new carb. This is just a 500 CFM carb, which is not going to be enough. And I'd like an electric choke as well. So Still got a lot of wiring to do. As you can see, the spark plugs are just dangling there. I need to reroute everything. I'm just waiting on my header bolts still. I'm still waiting on a bunch of parts that are supposed to be here yesterday, but they're showing up today instead. So the plan originally was to get the headers on and wire everything up and then try to give her some fire, but probably not the case. But just figured I'd go over today's shenanigans, and hopefully soon we'll be firing this bad boy up. Hey everybody, we're back on the 69 Mustang, and we're about to start to try to fire this engine up. So I've got the tank all connected and filled up. I put some transmission fluid in it. I got fresh oil. Everything's connected. I've got all my wires routed according to the diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we should be able to get some spark on this thing. I know the starter's working. I've got my nice little fuel tank right here. I'm not getting anything currently into the carburetor though, so I need to prime it up a little bit, but I've got some starter fluid I'll spray in here, and we're about to find out if we can get this thing to rock and roll. All right, after some much changes in the timing, I had to change it to top dead center multiple times to finally get it where it's working the way I want it to. I had it where I was having to cock it all the way to this tube just to get to run good and idle. Now it seems to be running good like this after a couple tooth changes and so on, just moving it over. I got my ghetto rig. I had to usually actually use an electric fuel pump just to prime the system to get this working with this little can. So, but it worked. Everything runs. It's doing what it's supposed to now. So that's good. I'm glad it's finally there. So, hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this week's episode. Obviously we had some issues, and it took us a lot longer than I expected to get this engine put together, between waiting on parts to make sure we had everything together, the manifolds, the carburetor, the fuel system, like everything. It seemed like it was a struggle to get the parts for. And then of course, me being an amateur, I had some issues. I put the distributor in wrong and had it way off, so we had to, multiple times I had to drop it back to TDC and get the distributor right, and for some reason I just kept on messing it up. But we finally got it in there. We're running. I didn't burn the garage or the car down for that matter, so that was a nice, thing. So always be careful. Always have a fire extinguisher nearby, because I lit that carburetor up multiple times. So definitely something you don't want to do. But hey, it's running. Obviously, it's not driving anytime soon. But now that that's done, we're going to start getting to work on the sheet metal. So we'll see you next week.
We do it now.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the